Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you saw the title of this video, you already know what's up, so there's no point for me keeping anything hidden. I did mention this in a previous video that I will be doing these minifigures, so let's get right to it. So, I've got them all right here, all 5 out of 6 of them. Now, if you're wondering, what the heck are these? Well, if you have not been following Playmates, at one point they had these Godzilla vs. Kong minifigures, which are like 2 to 3 inches. I don't remember the exact measurements, but they had these. They released these, I think, in sometime in the spring, but never came to Canada, so I didn't even bother getting it. But so these are from the same brand, Playmates, that make the giant figures, the 12-inch figures, the 13-inch figures. You know, all the other figures that I've covered throughout the channel. If you want to see the reviews for them, you can go check them out. They have a big 6-pack, like a big pack where they had all 6 figures, so you don't need to buy these individually. I was on my way on the public transit system, and on the way there was this shopping mall that I decided to quickly stop by, grab some snacks, grab something to drink, and they had a Walmart in there. So I figured, I wonder if they got any new Lego sets, you know? So I went in, looked at the Lego stuff, and then, you know, I'll just cruise down the entire toy section, because why not? I went down one of the action figure aisles, and I saw these. So, ran back to the entrance of Walmart, grabbed the shopping basket, and started gathering up. They've also had, if you saw my other video, then you'll know what else they had. They had battle roar Godzillas in stock. And I of course bought all these. You will find out in this clip. I'll play it right now.
And look what I came across. They've got these Godzilla vs. Kong minifigures in stock. Holy crap. And on top of that, they have the 7-inch Battle Roar Godzilla, but I think that's all. Yep, that's all they have in terms of Playmates. They don't have anything else. It's just Battle Roar Godzilla. So I'm gonna cop one of this for reinvestments, and of course I'm gonna see if I can try to get all the minifigures here for you guys for the video. So yeah, alright, I've got my basket, my figures in here, and then I got the minifigures in here, and that's a birthday gift. Now they don't have Skullcrawler, which is a bummer. I'll see if eBay has a Skullcrawler or anywhere else that has a Skullcrawler, but yeah, really thought I could get the whole collection here, but they were missing the Skullcrawler. They had everything but the Skullcrawler. Alright, let's pay for this and let's head home.
If I find a Skullcrawler, it will be in its own video, of course, but in the meantime, there won't be. Let's just look at the two main monsters, of course, Godzilla and Kong. Not King Kong, Kong. And notice how Godzilla and Kong are the only ones that actually have a crap ton of labels on the packaging, where the other ones don't. Just something I've noticed. So, there's Godzilla. Here we go, with the label, same. This is the brand that they're presenting every package with. Playmates 4+, you can see Godzilla printed on here, just like that, so there you go. Here's the back. There is actually nothing much at the back except for this cartoon drawing of Godzilla and Kong. Barcode, of course, Playmates, blah blah blah, and all that logo and all that. So there's that. So that's pretty much the same thing for all the figures here. So we got Godzilla here, and of course we got our monkey, Kong. Quick glance at the back, same thing. There you go. And then the other side monsters, we've got the Warbat, which of course was the new monster in the Monsterverse apart from Mechagodzilla. But here we go. There's that. And then Hellhawk. Don't remember where these things came. I think they were in that cave fighting Kong and the Apex people. I don't remember. Here you go. Hellhawk. And then this one was interesting. Behemoth, who made 0 appearance in Godzilla vs. Kong. We saw him for a couple seconds in King of Monsters. We saw him wrecking up a building, and then later on the end he bows down to Godzilla. We do not see him appear in the movie Godzilla vs. Kong at all, so why Playmates made a figure for Behemoth? I welcome it, but why? Could have made a Mechagodzilla, you know what I'm saying? So, there is that. So, of all the packaging out of the way, I think it makes sense now that I'm going to open up these packages, take the figures out, and see what we've got. So, okay, and here we go. We've got all the figures out of the box. Well, Well, 5, not 6, unfortunately, no Skullcrawler, but let's take a look at what we've got. So, first, I want to start off with the Hellhawk. This is new. Remember, these are 2 inches, so they are not pretty big. This is my hand, and this is the figure. It is quite small, so I don't think this will be a problem to be, to find somewhere on the shelf to display these things. However, that will also mean these might get lost pretty easily. So, do take lots of caution when approaching how to properly store these things. So, the Hellhawk is alright. I kind of wish it had a much better look. If you hear plattering noises, that's because it's hailing outside. Where I am right now, we are entering winter season. So yeah, I was saying this doesn't look too movie accurate, and I kind of wish it was, because not only that, the whole color scheme sticks to one consistent color scheme, and god, oh my god, the hail is going to get the worst out of me. Like, I like how they include this little stand that you can, because obviously it's going to be real. Oh, okay, I guess not. I guess I'll just make it easier to stand up the Hellhawk, make him stand up like this. So I think it's pretty nice. However, that still doesn't take away the fact that the color scheme is just completely off. I just don't think this is what the Hellhawk is supposed to look like. And well, it's a small 2-inch figure that's like $4, so therefore the paint and the coloring is very basic on this thing. So there's that. But you can see the mold is just one whole straightforward piece, and yeah, so very basic print. You can see the eyes are just red, and then just a swiggle of brown for the beak, and that's pretty much it. So nothing too much going on, but that is the Hellhawk. Not my favorite. I'm gonna say this one, so far looking at it, is my least favorite for sure. Yeah, so that's the Hellhawk, and I give it a 5 out of 10. Just really wish for it to look a little more movie accurate. Even if it's a cheap $4 figure, it would be great if it looked a little more accurate. So there's that. Okay, the next one I want to look at is Behemoth. Now this is my first ever figure of Behemoth, and that's because Behemoth isn't even in Godzilla vs. Kong, so I'm not even sure why this figure existed, but cool to see a Behemoth figure. That's super tiny. Behemoth, if you don't know what he is, I just think he's just a slow, gentle giant mammoth, obviously, with these long tusks, but he's also got these fists. He's a gorillafant? I don't know. A much slower version of Kong, that's for sure. Of course, these are all soft plastics. As kids will pick this up and play with it. This won't damage them, or at least won't hurt them. It's more safer material. So there's that. There is some very nice, what's it called? There is some nice textures going on the back. Just, you can see the overall fur going on this thing, and it just looks really, really nice. You guys, like Kong, Behemoth is, I guess, a much more furrier monster, whereas Godzilla and the Warbat is like more scalier. So there's that. But like I said, not quite sure why they made Behemoth, given the fact he wasn't in the movie. But it's cool to see Behemoth as a toy. And oh yeah, here's his face. Just the simple yellow eyes. Not exactly quite sure what this is, but it's a very basic print. I really wish though had a little bit more details, just to give him a little bit more of a facial expression. But overall, it's a basic 2-inch figure, so I can't exactly give a full critical analytical judgment on it. All right, now with these two aside, I kind of want, now I can dive into these creatures. I say these ones because these are the smaller versions of the more existing bigger figures that we have. Plus the Skullcrawler, but I've said it many times, I don't have the Skullcrawler. So let's start off with the Warbat. Now this is the second Warbat figure we've got from the Playmates line. The other one, of course, is the more well-known one, which is the the standard 6-inch figure. So let me just move all these aside, and then I'll show you the size comparison. So there, oh god, it's not in frame. There we go. Move the camera up. So here's the Warbat we all know and love, in the one that will probably be more common on store shelves, but this is the 6-inch one. And then here is the 2-inch one, this minifigure line. So as you can see, the small one here comes with a stand as well, with a clip to hold the tail together. And then of course our big one here also has a support, which is this clear stand to keep this figure standing. So there is that. So of course, given this is a much bigger figure, there is more details in the textures and the colors as well as the prints, and it has more playability, and the wings has a battle damage feature of course, whereas this one is just a figure, you know, it is what it is. Looking at the I don't know if you can see it. Come on camera, focus. Look at the facial, look at the face print. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's so basic. It's so basic that it's just literally 2 yellow eyes. Looks like the camera is kind of struggling to pick it up because it's so small, and I think that's fine. But yeah, and the wings, I'm glad the wings are still the same color, the same brown color, and that's pretty good. And of course, it doesn't have that battle damage feature, but it lacks that black line print that we see on the big one, of course. So there's the end. Of course, the tail pattern is actually the same. If you look at it, the tail pattern is pretty much the same. And overall, it's a good figure, but the face is just so basic. Of course, I mean, here is the face for the 6-inch one. Oh, this one the camera can pick up. But yeah, is that. So obviously, I'm gonna say the bigger 6-inch one is better, has more details and all that and whatnot. But I will say this is not a bad attempt. This is pretty good for a cheap small figure. So I think it's pretty solid for a Warbat figure, and cool to see we have yet another Warbat figure. Of course, the same for the Skullcrawler, but you know why now. Okay, so of course I saved the two main monsters for last, the 2 Alpha Titans for last, of course, because of course the movie is called Godzilla vs. Kong, so it only makes sense that Godzilla and Kong come last. So I want to do Kong first. Let's do Monkey first. So if you're wondering if these figures have any articulation, there is no articulation for any of these figures. They are all one big singular mold. Of course, they're so small, it only makes sense. So I'm gonna say this Kong is a lot skinnier. I think his arms has got a lot more muscle, because of course the other Kong has a very similar pose and print is of course the 6-inch Kong. I just pulled out the normal 6-inch Kong because apparently this seems so rare now these days. But there you go. And see the size comparison between these two. 6-inch, 2-inch, and of course they still got the scratch marks on their chests for both of them, as you can see. This one has his mouth open, so he's doing his battle roar. And overall, they stick with one consistent brown color scheme. You still see those monkey cheeks. That's pretty I'm glad they kept that. Okay. But of course, the facial expression is basic, but it actually is still pretty detailed. You can actually make it out the point that he's roaring, you know, whereas the Behemoth and Warbat and Hellhawk is just so basic. You don't even, it's just one smudge of paint, whereas this one actually put a little bit of effort. Like you can see the inside of his mouth, you can see the pink from his tongue. So that's actually pretty sick. Whereas of course the 6-inch here of course is bigger, has more articulation, has way more textures, way more details. I'm gonna say that for all of them, but there is your comparison. So overall, this is the Kong, and it's not bad for it. Yeah, I honestly thought this would be a lot more plain, even though they stuck with one color scheme, unlike the bigger Kong, of course. It's pretty good for a small 2-inch figure. So there's that. So there is Monkey, and finally, last but not least, is the king of the monsters himself, Gojira. So here he is. Very nice mold for a small 2-inch figure, I will say. I believe this one has the most details in terms of the figures, because they've still got the different shades of blue going on in the dorsal plates. And overall, they've stuck this color scheme for this Godzilla for 2 other figures. One is very popular, one is not so, but yeah, the tail, I did not bend it. It is actually like this. It came like this, but it is flexible, so don't bend it. You will break it. There is a chance you will break it, so be careful because this is softer plastic, you know, just for safety reasons. Of course, you cannot move the arms and legs, but they do look quite nice. And of course, Godzilla naturally has not so large hands, so there's that. And of course, yeah, so overall, I think this one looks the most presentable. This one looks the most detailed, of course. And of course, here is the, oh, there you go. You can kind of see the roar, you know, his mouth and his eyes. His eyes are kind of goofy, but that's, I guess that's the nature of low budget figures. So this one, I will say, is the best. But like I said, this follows the color scheme. Playmates has used this color scheme for Godzilla for very consistently, because here's the 6-inch Godzilla with radio tower, I believe that's what it was called. And you can see, ta-da, same color scheme. Now, yes, I'm moving the camera back because they have that for the, of course, for the big boy, and I really mean the big boy. Here's the 11-inch. Ta-da! There you go. Kind of hard to keep the camera safe, but for 3 generations, for 3 sizes of for the King of the Monsters, it is the same consistent color scheme. I find that pretty organized. You know, if you want to do your Godzilla evolution, there you go. You have 3 Godzillas with the same consistent color scheme. You got your 2-inch, you got your 6-inch, and you got your big 11-inch. So that's honestly, that is good. That is good. I prefer consistency over just like a rainbow of colors. They have different versions of Godzilla with different colors, of course, but to see there's at least 3 sizes of this character with the same color scheme is neat. You know, some people say, oh, it's just a remodeling, that's just how Playmates makes their money. Well, Jakks Pacific does something similar. It's fine, at least they have other options. Apart from this consistent color scheme, they have other options too if you don't like it. So, and that's that. And that's overall all the 2-inch minifigures that I got, minus the Skullcrawler. Now, I have seen the images of the Skullcrawler, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it's just not any different from the 6-inch Skullcrawler. So it looks pretty meh, and overall, I just think all these figures look pretty meh because they're, you know, small, tiny 2-inch minifigures that cost $4 each. So therefore, I can't expect too much out of it. However, I will say, from the 5 I have here, I will say the Hellhawk is the worst, and Godzilla is the best, just in terms of the color scheme and in terms of the details. And I mean, this is tiny figures, so Godzilla does have a consistent colors, like mix of blue going on. So like I said, 5 out of 10 for the Hellhawk, and then for Behemoth, I'm gonna give a 7 out of 10. Warbat's also 5 out of 10. Kong, 7 out of 10, and Godzilla a 8 out of 10. I think they are all pretty good, and if you are lucky enough, you may be able to score these in your own store. Hopefully you can. But in the meantime, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. Thank you so much for watching, and when you see the other Playmate stuff, check them out, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye for now.